Stocks on Wall Street end the session sharply lower as tech-related stocks resume the losses on AI valuation concern. Dow shuts 400 points while Nasdaq loses more than 450 points. Asian markets open lower, mirroring the losses on Wall Street as AI stocks resume their slump. The GIFT Nifty is indicating a lower start for the Indian market. Crude prices edge lower after fresh Saudi price cuts and ongoing supply risks as U.S. restrictions on Russian oil purchases remain. Meanwhile, gold rises as a U.S. government shutdown and tariff uncertainties lift safe haven demand. U.S. President Donald Trump praises Prime Minister Narendra Modi, calling him a great man and a friend, while hinting that he may visit India next year as a part of an ongoing effort to strengthen trade relations between the two nations. The finance minister clarifies that the government is not here to shut the door on F&O but to remove roadblocks. Also confirms to CNBC TV 18 that work is already underway on a PSP consolidation and discussions are ongoing. And it's the final countdown to the CNBC TV 18 Global Leadership Summit starting in a short while from now. The event promises a power-packed day with several panels focusing on India's economy, digital landscape, markets, entertainment, and a lot more. Hello, good morning. You've tuned into CNBC TV 18. You're watching Power Breakfast with me, Vinny Motiwala. Quick look at what the Asian markets are doing, because the US markets clearly didn't close on the positive note, and Asian markets, that's what it's mirroring as well. Asian markets have opened up in the red. Taiwan index down 0.7%, Hang Seng down 0.6%, Nikkei red down almost 2%. You look at the Shanghai index as well, that's down 0.2%. ASX 200 is trading with cuts of almost 0.1% as well. Even the Kospi, that's the South Korean index, that's also seen a sharp decline of 1.4% in the morning trading session. So clearly pressure is coming in on the Asian markets as well, given that we saw a bit of a sell-off coming in on all those AI-related stocks, especially in the US market. And that is what is now coming in here. Investors obviously were watching out for the China October data as well. So that is what we're keeping an eye on. Nifty implied open now is indicating a 121-point decline in today's trading session. This is a bit of a gap down start. This doesn't worsen. Yesterday also we saw a muted day of trade coming in. So that's a bit of a concern there. But Nifty implied open now 121 points down. We'll keep an eye out on that. That's the Asian market outlook. But like I said, there's a lot of action that happened overnight as well. A lot of cues that came in from our own market, given that there are a lot of earnings that came in the evening as well. So set you up for trade, tell you which other important stocks to watch out for, cues in the world of F&O. We have a team of research joining us as always. First up, let's go across to Hormaz to tell us what are the cues that we're keeping an eye out on. Good morning, Hormaz. As of now, implied open 121 points down, right?
Good morning, Vinny. It does not look a pretty picture to round off what has been an otherwise forgettable week for the markets, and yesterday was no different. In the last 6 sessions on which the Nifty has declined in 5 of them, the index has declined almost 550 points, and it has been making lower highs and lower lows. That streak now extends to the 6th session in a row, but the only saving grace yesterday was Reliance Industries, and that was the only one that kept the Nifty losses in check and prevented any further fall. It did breach that 25,500 mark on an intraday basis. We mentioned to you yesterday that the October 17 lows of 25,508 will open up in case of further downside, and that is exactly the level at which the Nifty closed on Thursday. Now, the important levels to watch, of course, this level at which the index has closed is an important one, but the 38.2% retracement level for the rally that the Nifty saw from the September 30 lows to the October 23rd highs, that comes up to around 25,524, and that is where the index is now trading very close to those levels, and currently the index indicating a gap down, which means we open around that 25,400 mark if the GIFT Nifty is to be trusted, and that the 50% retracement brings it down to levels of around 25,345. So we open around those support levels yet again, that 50% retracement level. That is an important one to watch out for. For the Nifty Bank as well, that continues to underperform. It's down over 800 points now in the last 5 sessions, and here too the 38.2% retracement of the rally that it saw comes up to around 56,915. So it's around about 500-600 points from where the current level is. Of course, there are plenty of earnings reactions to watch out for today as well. Activity continues to remain stock specific. And watch out for the broader markets, because the earnings reactions yesterday in the broader markets was very painful, where at least 30 stocks on the BSE small cap index were down anywhere between 7% to 20% in yesterday's trading session. So today as well, we are likely to have a gap down. The Nifty is still down almost 1% for the week. It remains to be seen whether there is some sort of support that emerges at these retracement levels for the index.
Okay, Hormaz, thank you so much for that. But time to look at which are the important stocks to watch out for as well. Let's go across to Upasna. Upasna, good morning.
Good morning, Winnie. First up, let me start with Apollo Hospitals. The revenue has seen an uptick of 13% on a one-year basis. Margin stood at 14.9% versus 14.6%. Next up is ABB India. Revenue ahead of estimates, but margin and PAT largely in line. Now, revenue has seen an uptick of 13%. Margin stood at 15.1% versus 18.5%. Next up is Lupin. Overall, a good set of numbers reported by the company, largely above our poll. Net profit up 73%. Revenue has seen an uptick 24% on a one-year basis. Cummins is the next one on our radar. Overall, it's been a good performance. It's a beat across the board. Net profit has seen an uptick of 41% and revenue has seen an uptick of 27% on a one-year basis. Next up is Amber Enterprises. Weak set of numbers. It's a miss across the board. Revenue, PAT, margin all below poll. Revenue has seen a downtick of 2%. EBITDA margin has seen a downtick of 120 basis points under pressure at 5.5%. Next up is Aarti Industries. Revenue has seen an uptick of 12%. Margin stood at 13.9% versus 12% on a one-year basis. NHPC has also reported a good set of numbers. Net profit up 13%. Revenue up 10% on a one-year basis. Next up is LIC. The new business premium has seen an uptick of 9%, while the total AP is down 1% on a one-year basis. And coming to Crompton Consumers, revenue largely in line, while EBITDA and PAT is below our estimates. Revenue has seen an uptick of just about 1%. It is a flat growth, and PAT has seen a downtick of 43%. Now, coming to the block deal, according to the sources, Bharti Airtel block is launched. Singtel may sell up to 0.8% stake in the company, and the block size is likely to be around 10,300 crore and floor price around 2,030 per share at a discount of 3.1% according to our sources. And lastly, coming to Time Technoplast, it has launched a 800 crore QIP, so we'll be watching out for that as well.
Okay, Upasna, thank you so much for that. But let's finally go across to Sudarshan, who's here to tell us what to watch out for in the world of F&O, given that we're seeing a bit of a sharper downtick in terms of Nifty implied open. Good morning, Sudarshan.
Good morning, Winnie. So it was another painful day, and all the global cues are looking very weak. Asian markets are down. US market was down. Even now, GIFT Nifty is indicating a gap down start. But two things. While the cues are mixed, my thing is that I won't be surprised if we see a recovery in the market, and there are reasons to it. I'll explain it to you. First, talking about the flows. Yesterday also, we have seen FI selling around 3,263 crore, while DIs continue to buy. They have bought almost 5,300 crore. Now, in the index futures too, FIs have sold 500 crore, but the selling number has come down if you compare with the previous few sessions. So that this is one reason. Second, longs exposure remains around 14 to 15%. Yesterday, they have reduced long positions by 2,000 contracts, but on the short side, addition was just 600 contracts, while in the previous few sessions, we were seeing addition in the range of 11,000 to 14,000. So there are two major positive reasons. Selling picture has come down from the FI side, so it gives you an indication that there might be a recovery that we might see intraday. Also, from the options data, the range in which that Nifty continues to see a good support, that's the range is from 25,400 to 25,600. So I won't be surprised if Nifty finds the support around 25,380 to 25,400. That's the reason I've taken support is 25,360 and resistance remains around 26,000. For Nifty Bank, support would be around 57,400 and resistance 58,120. Two stocks that I'll keep an eye on. First, PI Industries ahead of earnings is seeing fresh longs. Dabur, for the last few days, has been seeing fresh longs. I'll keep an eye on this also.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Sudarshan. Let's move on. And the Finance Minister, Nirmala Sitharaman, has clarified that the government is not here to shut the door on F&O. Now, speaking at the SBI Banking Conclave in Mumbai, FM said that the government's job is to remove the F&O roadblocks and that it is the investors' responsibility to understand the risk. The FM also said that the work has commenced on PSU bank consolidation and talks are on with the RBI. Listen in.
उस पैसा को कुछ और रास्ता में लेके जाना मेरा इरादा नहीं है। जिस रास्ता में वो जाना चाहते हैं वो उनका मर्जी। सरकार रास्ता बदलने के लिए नहीं, मगर उस रास्ते में जिस तरह के नुकसान हो सकता है जो आप विस्तार से बात कर रहे हैं उसके ऊपर, उसको अवेयरनेस के द्वारा बातें करेंगे या प्रोग्राम करेंगे, गांव-गांव तक जाकर बोलेंगे भैया संभालो आपको इतना नुकसान होगा, वो सब कर सकते हैं। मगर वो रास्ता किस रूट में जाना है वो बोलने का मेरा अधिकार नहीं बनता, ऐसे मैं समझती हूँ, क्योंकि पैसा उनका है।
I know that you've previously said that India needs not just world-class banks, it also needs world-sized banks. So, ma'am, is the government actively looking at further consolidation in the Indian banking sector? And is the government also actively looking at enhancing the FDI limit as far as public sector banks are concerned to 49%? Thank you very much.
No, I repeat that line. India needs a lot of big banks, world-class banks. And for that, of course, we will have to sit and talk with the Reserve Bank and also with the banks themselves to see how they want to take it forward. And also discuss with RBI about how they have an idea of taking or idea of building larger banks. So there's a lot of work to do prior to my saying, yes, I've taken a call or government is looking at this way or that way. And in that, work has already commenced. We are discussing with RBI, we are discussing with banks. It's not by creating from among those which exist today just by amalgamation. That can also be one of the route. But you need an ecosystem and also an environment in which more banks can operate and operate to grow. So that environment is actually well established in India, but I need it to be a bit more dynamic. So some work is happening on it.
Some interesting commentary there coming in from the Fed. But let's move on. And the SBI chairman, C.S. Shetty, batted for higher FII limit in the government-owned bank. Speaking to CNBC TV 18 as a part of a panel at the SBI conclave, Shetty said that 20% investment cap in the PSU banks has put them at a disadvantage. He added that the differentiation between private and PSU banks on the FII component is not really helping the PSU banks, that's the public sector banks, in terms of recognizing their value.
I personally believe this differentiation between public sector and private sector banks, particularly in terms of what should be the FII component, I think is not really helping in terms of recognizing the true value of the public sector bank. Most of the FIs look for the free space available for them. And just compare a 10% free space available versus 74% which is looked at. So I believe that without compromising anything in terms of ability to have enough commitment from public sector banks, from the government, we are not looking at the dilution, right? Yeah. It is only free float. It's already available in the market.
Okay, on that note, we're going to actually slip into a very short break. But before we do that, here's a programming note for our viewers. It's the final countdown for CNBC TV 18's most anticipated event of the year, the CNBC TV 18 Global Leadership Summit. The landmark event brings together business leaders, innovators and policymakers to explore transformative strategies and groundbreaking ideas. Starting at 8:30 a.m. today, it will be a power-packed day with several panels focusing on India's economy, the digital landscape, markets, entertainment, and a lot more. Welcome back to Power Breakfast on CNBC TV 18. And now shifting focus to the US market, Wall Street ended lower with Dow Jones falling almost 400 points. S&P 500 fell around 76 points also in yesterday's trading session, while Nasdaq fell around 446 points. We have CNBC Seema Modi, who's joining us and getting us a wrap on what happened on Wall Street.
Stocks were down across the major indexes in Thursday trade as a decline in AI-related names continued to put downward pressure on the broader market. The Dow falling 397 points, S&P down 76, and the tech-heavy Nasdaq losing 446 points. Now, President Trump announcing on Thursday that his administration has struck a deal with Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly to lower the cost of their blockbuster weight loss drugs, Wegovy and Zepbound. Under the terms of the deal, the administration says the monthly out-of-pocket cost will range from $50 to $150 depending on dosage and insurance coverage. The two drugs currently list at more than $1,000 a month. Companies cut more than 150,000 jobs last month, the biggest set of layoffs in October in more than 20 years. That's according to a report Thursday by staffing firm Challenger Gray and Christmas, showing layoffs surging 175% from a year ago. Employers have cut more than 1 million jobs this year, up 65% from the same time last year. Challenger says some industries undergoing a correction following the hiring boom during the pandemic, but rising costs and AI adoption are also driving budget cuts and hiring freezes. That's what's happening here in the U.S. Back over to you in Mumbai.
Thanks so much for that. Now, getting you the latest on Trump-related developments, we have Dia joining in with us in our special segment, Trump Watch.
Good morning. A day after the U.S. Supreme Court justices raised doubts over the legality of Trump's sweeping tariffs, the U.S. president said he will consider alternatives if the Supreme Court rules against his flagship economic policy. Listen in.
We thought we did very well yesterday. We hope that we did. I think it would be devastating for our country, but I also think that we'll have to develop a Game 2 plan. We'll see what happens. Most people tell me we did very well.
Speaking to reporters at the White House, Trump also said he would visit India at the urging of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, the latest sign of a possible thaw in a trade dispute that has soured the two countries' relationship.
It's great. Deal, and when going good. He largely stopped buying oil from Russia.
When do you plan?
And he's a friend of mine, and we speak, and he wants me to go there, and we'll figure that out. I'll go. I had a great trip there with Prime Minister Modi. He's a great man, and I'll be going. Yeah.
Novo Nordisk is in the middle of a 10.
You're
planning to go to India next year, sir?
It could be, yeah.
Moving on, Nigeria is engaging with the U.S. to find a diplomatic solution to rising tensions sparked by Trump's threats of military action against Islamist militants in the West African country. And lastly, Trump also announced deals with pharmaceutical giants Eli Lilly and Novo Nordisk to lower the prices of some popular weight loss drugs in exchange for relief from threatened tariffs. That's all for today. Now back to you.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Dia. But on that note, we're going to slip into a very short break, and we'll get you the cues in the world of commodities after the break. Welcome back to Power Breakfast on CNBC TV 18. Now let's move on and go across to Manisha Gupta, who's here to tell us what are we keeping an eye out on today in the world of commodities. Manisha, the overnight cues, at least on the equity market front, are not positive for on the US or today even the Asian markets, not positive. But commodities, what are they looking like?
Well, it's a similar scenario for the commodity other space as well. You know, for commodities, especially the precious metal prices, it also is now about the U.S. government entering the longest ever shutdown. It doesn't augur well for that economy. It doesn't augur well for the fact that you don't get to see proper data coming in from that country as well. So the gold prices seem to be taking support from that one thing. Also, the decline in U.S. dollar index overnight, we are back below 100 onto that one, is supportive also. The markets, though, the only thing that's bothering them is the ISM PMI number, which has hit an 8-month high, and the fact that there is less than a 60% probability now of a U.S. rate cut in the month of December. What we have seen, though, in sense of gains has been the U.S. natural gas prices. That one is trading at a 7-month high. The winter is hit earlier, is expected to be harsher, and near record LNG export demand also seems to be supporting prices there. And finally, for the agriculture, it has been a big red there. It is about palm oil or sugar, which is trading at a 6-year lows, or rice, which is trading lowest since 2018. Many of these agriculture commodities seem to have given in today.
Okay, Manisha, thank you so much for that. Interesting to keep an eye out on all the commodities as well. Let's just look at the Nifty implied open as of now. How many points downtick is it showing? When we started the show, it was 121 points down, the Nifty implied open. And as of now, also, it continues to show us a decline of 136 points now. So furthermore, that it's seen a bit of a fall. We'll keep an eye out on that gap down start. With that, we're absolutely out of time on this edition of Power Breakfast. Thank you so much for tuning in. Up next, your Bazaar Morning Call.